Okay. All right, we are kind of set here.
We're kind of set.
Yep.
I'm good with that.
We're recording, so
We're recording.
usually how you do these things is somebody claps
Yep.
and then we start, so we know where the whole thing was starting at.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Somebody clap.
wait, hold on, not yet, because I'm supposed to intro. So like I'm trying to think of something that doesn't. That's not how it works.
There it is.
You have to be
There it is.
silent and then
Welcome to the show.
silent and
He
then-
clapped. We're starting.
That's it.
Hold on, I gotta get a beer real fast.
All right, go get it from the fridge. That was fast.
Okay. So our last episode is a pilot episode. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hold on. Say something real fast.
Say something, baby.
Okay.
Talk to me.
I was just making sure that your shit was working.
Yeah.
All right. So welcome to you fucking of course. So yeah, welcome to official episode 1 of the Toasted podcast. The first pilot episode, probably nobody's ever gonna hear that, but it was definite train wreck, that's for sure. We might have got quite drunk and then had like a after podcast where like a lot of stuff was said that was highly inappropriate. A lot of secrets were unfolded, and that will never see the light of day. So just kind of putting that out there.
Honestly, just a bunch of boys bonding, you know?
Yeah, we really
It was a
were
great time.
bonding. Yeah, that was me taking a sip of my New Orthodox India Pale Ale Series Boss Tweed. I just wanted to start off with that plug. So
That's good.
this is like a solo show. I feel like at this point in
No,
time.
I
what you're
appreciate the plug. I think we chose well, and if at some point we get money and or beer, I will have no regrets for shilling endlessly about New Orthodox Indian Pale Ales. They have M43, which is my favorite. Perfect pairing with dinner of any kind. They have Boss Tweed, which is how you get drunk on a beer. And then they have the B43, which I have yet to try. I'm hoping they send me a case. And
I guess while we're at it, I happen to enjoy the looks and ride of the new Bentley Continental GT.
Is that it? Are you turning down a Corvette sponsorship if they offer one?
Corvettes, I love you, dog, but you know, Bentleys are where it's at. The Supreme leather stitching is really something to behold, and I would love to get a ride in one day.
You kind of where I was gonna go with that. It doesn't align with what you said. I was just gonna say I also love driving luxury cars. Also, I do it. I do it often.
Yeah, your Ford is a peak luxury.
Yeah,
Yo, you have a Roush Racing Ford. I've seen it.
Yeah, I do. And honestly, yeah, if I'm gonna whip any car, it has to be at least $100,000 minimum. So just keep that in mind. If somebody wants to send me a free one, I would appreciate that.
I'll promote you at my business.
Yeah, I will promote you at my business.
Onlyfeet.store, the #1 marketplace for buying and trading feet pics.
Yeah, be on the lookout for that one.
Coming soon to a URL search bar near you.
I wonder if somebody has shotgun one of these bad boys.
Oh, dude. Oh, if there's enough money on the table, I would do it on the podcast.
9.3% alcohol, tall boy shotgun.
I
feel like
I
that would
haven't
just
shotgun
be-
one of those, but I've definitely shotgun like a 22-ounce tall boy.
Oh,
It was a Busch Signature Copper Lager, and honestly, you feel like absolute garbage afterwards.
Yes,
It's
I
way
would
too much.
imagine.
I've shotgunned IPAs. I've done it once, and judging on what I remember of that night, which is nothing, I regret it.
That's a good way to put it, I guess.
But I would do it again for money and or content.
Yeah, I think it's just the
We'd
once.
have to record it though.
It's just the once to know. Okay,
video.
that's awful, and then that's it. You know, you can move on with your life. Milestone over.
IPAs should make you feel like shit the next day, not the day you're drinking them. I mean, that's just like rule one for drinking an IPA.
Yeah. Also, it really depends. It probably depend on the IPA because a lot of IPAs, like honestly, a lot of craft beer tastes like fucking ass. Let's be honest.
Oh, it does.
Like it's pretty gross. But like if it's one of those, for example, like a Boss Tweed or like an M43, shout out to the sponsor.
Yep.
It's pretty smooth and it tastes it's delicious. So.
Yes, it's not a beer. It's not beer you would want to waste shotgunning. Like you don't want to drink it so fast you didn't get to enjoy it.
Also, I have tequila if you want to take
I absolutely not, dude. I'll end up naked and trying to bang.
That's
for
never
sure.
I've never wound up naked drinking
No.
any amount of alcohol.
Oh, I mean, it's great content. Do you guys want to hear my tequila story? Why I don't drink the shit?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, let's go for it.
All right. So when I was 17, I went over to Germany. Family had family friends, and I was tagging along on their vacation to Italy. And beforehand, I contacted a friend who had a cabin and was like, "I've never drank before. I'm going to overseas. Like, can you like get me drunk?" So we went up to his cabin. I got plastered. So I go over to Germany. We end up like hanging out on a beach outside of Rome at this campground, and the special at this like campground club, they actually had a club in the campground. It was wild, but the special was tequila shots for €2, which I was too drunk when I showed up to do the conversion, but it seemed cheap. So I started buying tequila for me, for my friends, for strange women that looked attractive, and we went out to the beach, and I was just like, I want to go swimming, and they're like, you're fully clothed, and it's dark, and there's rocks, because there's a pier, and I wanted to jump off, and I was like, I want to jump off of it, and they're like, you're definitely going to die. And I was like, well, then I want to go swimming, and they're like, you're fully clothed, and so I just stripped down, went out there, started swimming, something like stung my leg. I was super hammered. I thought it was a jellyfish. I had no idea what was going on. My leg was in pain.
You were swimming in fresh water.
It was definitely not fresh water.
I thought it was a jellyfish. He's in a lake.
So I come stumbling out, just like screaming about my leg being on fire. And the like thought that's running through my head is like, you piss on jellyfish wounds. So just like ass naked in front of like 30 people because they all wanted to see the American be a fucking idiot. And so just in front of like 30 people, I just pissed all over my leg. It wasn't even the right leg. It was the wrong leg. My right leg hurt. I pissed all over the left one. And then I just like was like, okay, I need to rinse off, but I didn't want to go back in the water because I was in pain. So I was just wandering around this campground naked, looking for like a hose or like something to wash the piss off my leg with. And then eventually, I don't remember. I kind of just like blacked out for a lot of this. This was all like from what German people who speak very broken English could tell me the next day because I don't really remember. But yeah, that's the story.
That is pretty wild. I don't have a single story like that.
That's why I don't drink tequila. I was like, that was the first time, and that was the last time.
Yeah, like I said, but I've drank lots of different liquors and alcohol, and I've never had a problem like that before.
It's like the most tame like drinker I've ever seen.
I don't know.
He gets super caring.
Yeah, you're like a sipping guy, so it's not like you go like hard or anything.
Yeah,
I think you get to a certain point and you're just kind of like, I'm done.
Yeah, when the room has started spinning and stuff, like, and it's hard to be coherent in any way. Like I mean that's kind of like at a point where I'm just like, yeah, I'm either gonna go to sleep or just kind of sit here.
Like that sounds like such a pleasant way. It's very different from me.
Yeah,
I imagine.
I get like a little bit, and then I start sniffing like the air, like I smell more. Like
you start your bloodhound for alcohol.
Yeah.
You have one taste of liquor, and you're just like, I think I'm going to ruin my life tonight.
Yep, and often it does.
See, I have liquor. Each liquor does something else to me. Like the one time I got super fucked up on only vodka. I was just a super horn dog. I remember I was in high school. I was just yelling out that I wanted head to like this party of like 60 people. It was the first time I'd been to a party like that. I got super hammered, and I just started yelling like somebody should blow me. I want a blowjob.
Okay. See, the thing about this is I didn't drink basically at all until I was like 19 or 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like underage drinking when you're super irresponsible, at least, was something that I never really experienced because I was definitely mostly an adult by the time I started drinking. So it kind of eliminated like a lot of bad decisions.
I'm still not an adult, and I'm legally allowed to drink, so I just continue to make bad decisions.
I'm not saying I'm the best adult currently.
Oh no, you've got your life pretty well together. Don't pretend.
I'm just saying. What do you? What's up?
Oh,
You were looking.
I was gonna use the restroom.
Yeah, go ahead.
Making a sneaky.
Not
so sneaky anymore.
So, did you have anything? Did you list out anything you want to talk about specifically, or?
Well, I was gonna talk about the person at work that just felt so strongly about getting a job anywhere else that he just walked in and quit. But
Oh yeah, we can do that, I guess.
yeah, I just find it how do you get as a SOC 1 analyst? How do you go from that to sysadmin?
I don't know. Especially okay. So yeah, this person at her work, at my old workplace, and I guess technically your old workplace now. Oh shit, Jack. Yeah, fuck. Okay. My bad. So this person at mine, or Jack and I, our old work. He, we work in cybersecurity. Our titles were SOC 1 analyst. And this guy who definitely was, I would say, on the lower spectrum of like how good he was at the job.
I was gonna say he had the IQ of of the temperature of a warm room.
Yeah. So, Travis, for reference, I'll remove this. But we're talking about
Okay.
Yeah. And him coming in. Okay, so anyway,
Yeah.
like what we said, this dude comes in, he just up and quits. Apparently he has like a sysadmin job, which is like mind-blowing step up from what we were doing at that job. And it's just based upon his qualifications and skill set, it is very confusing as to how he landed that job.
Especially since he doesn't interview well. That's been proven.
Okay, yes.
You can confirm that.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is there's internal interviews. Fuck. So what Jack was saying is there's internal interviews with this dude. I got to sit in on them and listen. And his internal interview for this position was like god awful. Like he sounded like he was high most of the time. When asked most questions, it was just I don't really know. Or like, for example, we send emails about things that happen and be like in, security wise stuff. Like, there's like a piece of malware or something. We like send a case about it to, one of our customers. And part of the interview process was like, what do you think the best email you wrote was? And like, why do you think it was the best one? And his response to that was, well, I don't know. He's like, I've made so many cases since I've been here. He's like, I just really can't pick out one that like stands out. He's like, they all just kind of blend together. And I'm just like, that was like
Like,
not what they were looking for whatsoever.
hey, what's exceptional about your work? I'm like, nothing. I do the same thing every time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was like a pretty bad answer. In general, his interview was very poor, probably one of the worst. So that is kind of what makes it even more crazy that he was able to get this sysadmin job. Yeah.
He can't interview. He has no skill set. He has an AWS cert. That's it. And he didn't even get one that would imply that he knew anything about administrating a system.
Yeah. So,
But they managed to get hired somewhere else, and they felt so strongly about how shitty our previous company was, that they just walked in and quit.
yeah, no 2 weeks. He just comes in. He was a third shift worker, came in on first shift, and people were like, "Oh man, why are you here?" And he's like, "I'm quitting." So he just like turns in his shit and he dips out, and they're just like, wow, that's an interesting way to do it.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I kind of would have liked to have done the same thing, just because, like, I don't owe that place anything, so
Right.
like,
I
why
took
not?
a different approach to getting out of my 2 weeks.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that we can segue into.
Our company has forcibly suppressed honesty and criticism of any kind, whether constructive or just negative, because there are plenty of criticisms of the company that just result in us saying, and there's nothing we can do because this won't change, and you guys think this is fine.
Yeah. So I guess, there's not really much else to say about the dude that just up and quit. Just going back to why I didn't do that is, like, I'm just like, I don't know, I can collect a paycheck still, so, like, doing nothing.
You
by the way.
had other investments as well.
Oh,
Loyalties.
Yeah. There's also people that I would, have liked to keep happy that still work there. So, like, that was kind of like another thing. But segueing from that guy just up and quitting to what Jack did, that was he put in his 2 weeks, but that came to an abrupt end, considering his course of action that he took.
I was told my obligation to the company was at an end and that I was no longer into the office, which wasn't true, because the client that I managed for the company, I was the only person who knows what's going on. I knew where the data was at, and they were in an absolute clusterfuck that I was planning on sorting out for them. But, man, I did the one thing you can't do it. I told the truth.
You said the name.
I said. All right, well, you're gonna have
Don't
to bleep
say
this
it
out.
too many.
Damn.
I said the one thing you can't say at our company, which is the truth. I pointed out some areas that probably needed some addressing. I was overly cautious about how I presented it. I could have been way meaner, and I could have put my personal opinion in there, but I stuck to what is objectively the truth, and I had other people review it before and after I sent it, because after I sent it, I got a pretty poor response. The person I sent it to did not appreciate my, in their words, opinion.
So the person he sent it to, by the way, was his manager. So
yes. And I think the real mistake I made in telling them a small portion of what was wrong with their company was that it was unsolicited. I initiated that, but they weren't going to they might have asked me. My boss's boss wanted to schedule a meeting to pick my brain, as he put it. I think what they really wanted was for me to indicate in some way that my leaving was related to my office manager.
are you serious?
That's the sense that I got. said, we want to pick your brain on why you're
Oh
leaving.
my
And I was
God.
like,
I wish I could say some shit, but I really can't say some shit.
I was like, yeah, I'm open to a meeting. And then that night, I also sent the message to my boss. And then there was no meeting. They didn't ask me for my opinion after that. Apparently, what I had given my manager was enough for them to say, you're not going to say nice things about us or negative things about your office manager. So we don't want your opinion. We want you gone. And I did sign a confidentiality agreement that states that I will not convince people to leave the company, whether customers or employees.
So speaking on that really quick, I told you the other day that I don't remember signing anything like that, but the more I thought about it, I did. And actually how that whole confidentiality thing is worded is that you will not start your own company and poach employees from your previous company, basically is how it reads.
Okay. So I have to say, I was on Chime earlier today with people in our office. And I was making fun of the fact that my confidentiality agreement states that I will not try and convince people to leave the employ of the company that I no longer work for. My exact words were, guys, I would never break an NDA or confidentiality agreement of any kind, and I will not try and convince you to leave the company now that I am no longer employed there. I think I did that plenty when I was there. I will only be referencing old conversations that I had while in the employ of the company that while I worked for them was trying to convince you guys to leave.
Yeah, he did do a lot of that.
Yeah, I'm directly responsible for at least one person actually taking a different job. Probably more. But there's at least one person who was on the fence / going to turn down a way better job, and I bullied them into accepting. And the last I talked to them, they said, I'm extremely happy this company's way better. Thank you.
Yeah. That's good. Everybody should be getting out. Or I guess if you make enough money, I guess it's really not that bad, but
You don't have to do anything.
I'm chilling.
yeah,
right
like,
now. Like,
yeah, I
There's
think
no work to be done.
I'm like studying for certs. In the meantime, like, I don't know. I'm just gonna see how far this career path goes.
yeah, I think for
Not
like,
what I wanted to do at all. But I'm pretty happy here.
No, I think for Travis it's like definitely okay because he makes enough money there doing what he does at least to make it just okay. Like he doesn't really have to do a whole lot and he gets paid
And
like okay.
I'm paid
money.
enough to say yes, boss, with a smile, and it doesn't like bother me too much.
Yeah.
you know.
See, that bothered me a lot. That's part of the reason.
Well, I'm really good at saying yes, boss.
Right, but also you're very removed from all of the stuff. You're basically a separate area. You just have the same bosses, but like they just assume you're gonna operate fine on your own and kind of leave you guys alone.
Yeah, they yeah.
And had I been smart enough to get into that area of the company, I would definitely be in your same position. But having moved up a different ladder and like realizing that all I have to do is get my current manager to like me.
That's my alarm.
Is get my current manager to like me. And everything will be fine. I can endlessly put off work. There's no accountability whatsoever. You don't even have to deliver anything you deliver. Nobody checks. Nobody knows. They just assume you're doing your job. And if you're not, they're okay with that. There are plenty of people there that have documented not doing their job. And they're just like, well, get it done next month. So at no point was I on a timeline.
Yeah. I'm preparing a beer for right now. Excuse me.
Jack.
Fuck, man.
Shit.
So hard.
I don't think he's mentioned really
I
any
haven't said.
names.
I've stayed away from saying any names at all.
Yeah.
So have I.
I try to do that too. But I think it's because honestly I haven't saw you guys too much recently, so I feel like it's not like the thing on my mind is just to like
Lo Ciento pays up for Corona Extra. We're gonna have to cut Corona because that's a competing beer. It's no competition. New Orthodox Indian Pale Ale Series crushes all competition.
no, Corona's good though. Also,
Yeah.
but it can't be a sponsor because like what the fuck? Like the only thing.
They're probably looking for good press after 2020.
Well, I mean, possibly, but like the only way Corona's ever been marketed is to like fucking old people. So like,
are you at the end of your rope? Do your grandkids not call? Are you in a nursing home? Would you like to pretend that you're on a beach somewhere even though you can't afford it because you worked as a grocery store clerk your whole life? Corona is the beer for you.
That's fucking good.
My dad likes Corona.
Your dad can't afford a real Mexican resort.
No, like I said, I mean, your dad's getting up there now, so
Yeah, he's old.
I would say that's quite accurate.
I
Also,
have no idea what your parents' financial situation is. I'm just assuming if he's drinking Corona.
Given that they own Bentleys, that I would
Travis's parents, yeah, they drive around Bentleys, take private jets.
you
know,
it's the
okay.
deal.
See, I had no clue, but I stand by what I said regardless. I'm not backing down. In fact, I'm going to double down. Your parents are broke as shit. That's all debt.
My mom's maiden name was Buffett.
Is she married to Jimmy?
No.
It was after a divorce.
Travis's mom is rich.
I work because it's fun.
You learn something new every fucking day.
No, that's not true at all.
I became
it's
friends
not.
with Travis because he's cool, but I stayed for the chance at like third-hand wealth.
Man,
you know where the expensive thrift stores are.
Yeah, that was definitely not a true story whatsoever.
No, I have pretty humble roots. I think my parents came to some wealth, like, above medium income wealth, like by the time I was an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I got to there, they were finally like kind of comfy.
Right.
And then they didn't let me really have any.
Fair enough.
Going into college, and like, I mean, they would help me out, whenever a situation would arise, but they didn't hand me over. I actually didn't even know how much they made until I had to do taxes by myself, and I needed their tax information from last year. And I looked at it.
Yeah,
I was like 20 at that point, and I was like, Dad, what the fuck?
that was the same situation. That's actually funny you say that, because that was the same situation with my parents, and like I also was kind of surprised by how much money my dad made. At least I was like,
I would agree. I look at your place and I'm like, this is not a family that makes too much, but it's just fine with living like that.
Yeah,
and like that's cool. I appreciate that.
It's funny because I'm in the exact same position.
Yeah, it's not extravagant at all, but like my dad makes a pretty decent living, like, and I just never knew specifics. Although just because I'm in cybersecurity, like we were talking the one day, and I was like, yeah, my new job, I'm making like around like 60K, actually more than that, because we can get like bonuses and shit. And like he's like, man, he's like, you've only been at this shit for like 2 years, and he's like, you're getting close to catching up to me pretty soon. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that just goes with the industry, I guess. And it was just kind of like a weird fucking
Yeah, it really
realization.
does. So same thing. I mean, not now because my dad's had 2 strokes, but previously. So I was going to go to school for finance, and I think I would have actually been pretty good at it. But
my second option was to go to school for accounting.
I definitely could see you as an accountant. That seems very real to me. But yeah, I remember between my sophomore and junior year, my dad was a professor at a small community college, like $60K a year by the time I was in high school. But what he did do was he got into online teaching very early. So he did a lot of it because he just took he taught the same course for a bunch of different online schools. And so what he would do is every time he encountered a new program, he would save the file formats. So anytime there was a job posting for an online math class that needed to be taught, he already had the material ready to go. All he had to do was upload it and answer emails.
Yeah.
So by the time I was in high school, he was making 6 figures, but it was through incredibly long hours at his computer, like replying to emails and answering people's calculus questions. But growing up wasn't like that. It was like budget for food every week. Like that was when we were in high school. I remember one day he just told me how much he made, and I was just like, "The hell, Dad? Like, where's my car? What the fuck?"
Okay.
Yeah, I am sorry to interrupt. I actually have to head into the office right now. So I will be leaving the podcast for now, but I'm sure some good material.
We have
Wish I could
a
talk longer.
special guest to come on the podcast.
So, I mean, if he's up for it, there is we do have a studio audience here at the moment. And if he would like to join, he definitely can and take the place of Travis.
It looks like he's giving in to peer pressure.
Yeah, it looks
Everybody
like
welcome RuneScape guy.
See ya.
From the pilot episode briefly mentioned.
Wait, do we just call him a RuneScape player?
You can just say like RS or something like that would be convenient.
Okay.
What is your in-game name?
Something that's way too long.
Oh, you turn it around so you're at the front.
Oh.
There you go.
We
So
can call him
how you
RS.
doing? How you feeling?
I don't know.
It's weird. You just have to act like you're having a regular conversation. Forget
Yeah,
about the
that's-
mic.
See, that's already difficult because I'm generally just a pretty quiet person. I kind of just sit
Yeah.
and observe. So having
Or
a
you
mic in
sleep
front of me, yeah, I
and
sleep.
not observe
I
at all,
definitely
yeah.
sleep.
I'm not convinced he doesn't observe when he's sleeping. I've got some pictures on my phone. I'm not convinced his eyes aren't open. I take pictures of you when you're sleeping. I did it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, a
just
lot of
because
people do,
I'd walk
honestly.
past you on the couch being passed out, and I'd just be like, "This is kind of funny."
You know what? I actually knew multiple people did that.
Yeah.
I never did it maliciously though. I always did it
I
because I,
don't
was
think
like,
anyone did, but it still is a strange fact to remember. It's like there's multiple people in this office who have pictures of me sleeping on their phone.
So there's
Some people who are not in the office anymore either.
correct.
So the other thing about that is the one time where you fell asleep and typed in the
Yes.
In
the
chat.
the
In the
chat.
public chat.
Yeah, the public group chat that we have with everybody that does the job that we do. And he was sleeping and poked his keyboard with, I don't know if it was like your nose or your face or something, and then like sent a message, like a sleep message to the fucking chat.
You're like, "Hey, work, what's up?" It's like typed by my nose as it smashed the keyboard.
Yeah, so when that happened, I come out of the office and I'm like, oh, I really wonder. I said to my boss, I'm like, hey, like he just typed some weird random stuff in chat. Like I wonder if he's sleeping right now. And I go out there and here he is, fucking head down on his desk, asleep. And I was like, hey guys, is it sleeping? And they're like, yeah, I think so.
Who?
Oh fuck. Well, I didn't know what to call him because I was gonna.
You can call him RS.
I was gonna call him his RuneScape name, but he says that's too long apparently.
Yeah.
So
You can call him RuneScape or just RS.
RS, okay, RS.
RS. You can call him RS Classic because RS is a classic. I almost said his name.
It is.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's a great game. I've wasted many months and hours and probably years of my life playing that bullshit.
I continue to do so.
Yeah.
What is your most played game currently? Like if you had to guess at like what you've sunk the most hours of your life into, is it RuneScape?
Probably RuneScape or League of Legends, because they're both just awful options.
You
honestly.
are. I mean, I don't think so. I think RuneScape is reasonable to have a shit ton of hours and days of your life into only because it was out at a time when your options were World of Warcraft, which was pay to play, or RuneScape, which is free to play.
Right.
And there was basically nothing else. There were no other video games unless you wanted to go console like a little bitch.
I also can somewhat justify the RuneScape hours just because you can basically play it like AFK. Like you only need to use like 5% of your attention span to play it, and then you can play an actual game on your other monitor.
Or you know, if you're, I don't know if this is like cracked down on more, but back in the day, I just used to use like bot clients and not do anything. You don't have to pay attention to it at all, and you just woodcut for
Plenty
like
of people still
days,
do that.
days upon days upon days, and it's just all scripted and automated, and you don't have to fucking click a button.
You just let the bots gather your money, then you buy the gear, and you do the actually fun stuff when you're actually playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was never that smart. I used to follow really high level people around and then hope they died so I could take all their shit. That was my strategy.
Oh man, that was such a great game.
It
You
was.
guys remember Zezima, like
Yes.
the legend RuneScape player? Oh, okay. Well,
I don't think he was the first one to get like all 99s or something, but he was. I don't know how he became famous somehow. Just everybody knew who he was. He was like, oh, that's Zezima.
yeah, he was like
He was the
player in the
RuneScape
game.
player. Everyone knew who he was.
Really?
Yeah. And like he would like pop online and go to like free to play world, like World
And
1.
just, yeah, everyone would just lose
Yeah,
their fucking
yeah,
shit.
everyone
They'd be like,
would
holy fuck.
try to join World 1 and find them and shit like that, because mainly people would go to like World 1 and like 3 or something, or 2. I
It
don't
was
remember.
1 and 2. One is the main free to play world, and then 2 is the main pay to
Yeah.
play.
I played on 95. I still remember. I don't know. One of my buddies who introduced me to RuneScape was like, "This is the server I play on," and that was it.
Yeah. But yeah, great times. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
I was not ingrained in internet culture. I was a computer nerd as a kid. Like that's all we had. We didn't have consoles, but I wasn't that deep. Like I don't remember anything. I just remember stomping my brother in it, Age of Empires repeatedly for years. This happened for years.
Kind of going back to what game I personally have the most time sunk into.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it would be the Halo series in general. I don't think I've played any games as much as I have those. And then if we just go by like current day, like Steam library type stuff, Dota, definitely like the most played game I have. I have like 2,300 hours or something like that, which like really isn't that much in comparison to some people. But yeah, I'd say that just because multiple games, and specifically
Yeah.
like Halo 2, like what
Ooh,
I used to
yeah.
do when I was young in like 12, 13, because that's when Halo 2 was like most prevalent in terms of like how old I was at the time.
Mhm.
Like I would just play that like 24/7. I would come home from school, I would play it all night until I went to bed, maybe skip homework sometimes, like every single day on repeat, 7 days a week, nonstop. And like and it was like great, like I met some people that are like friends still, like to this day, from playing that game with them like all the time. And then it just went to like Halo 3, played the shit out of that, like every single one. So like without a doubt it would probably be Halo, because
Yeah. I think you know how everyone kind of has like a moment they look back on as like these were the simple times. These were the good times. I think like my most like pinpoint memory of that is playing Halo 3 in my basement with all my family. I had a huge family, lots of cousins. We would just go to my grandma's house, boot up the Xbox 360, and we'd all play Halo together. And it's just
Yeah, I agree. I think Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach too, those were like the days where like, yes, I'm not going outside and getting any social interaction, but like I'm just having fucking fun playing this game. Like, yeah. So for sure, that'd be it for me. But
Mine was World of Warcraft, and I wasn't allowed to play at my house. I got a best friend in middle school. We played soccer together, and he had the computers. His dad would let my friend use his computer, and I'd use my friend's computer, and we'd build characters, and I'd get over there after school at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. We'd play for a few hours, and then on weekends it was just like I'd spend all weekend over there just playing World of Warcraft with him. I didn't even have my own account. I was using somebody else's, and I still managed to put like 9-10 days into that game.
Jesus.
Like just playing with him just on and off over the years. And then once I got my own computer and got World of Warcraft, it was over. It's actually why I refuse to play World of Warcraft to this day.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Like,
A coworker somebody who no longer works there, and I guess I don't either, but they kept trying to convince me back into it. I was like, I cannot get back into that game, because once I do, my time is gone. Nothing will get done. I already know how my life turns out if I start playing World of Warcraft again, and it's not pretty. Like, I can't afford the amount of time, because like you got to get that piece of PvP gear. That piece of PvP gear that costs so many of whatever the currency is now, and it's like, and you gotta grind those numbers, and it's like you get 25 a match, and a match is 15 minutes. And you got to play, 900 matches. The next thing you know, it's 2023, and I'm like, where the hell did my life go?
Yeah, so like my experience with World of Warcraft was like I saw the price of it like way back in the day when I was like 14, 15, and I was like, you have to pay that much to play it like a
Yeah,
month,
same.
and it was pretty much like, hey, mom and dad, like there's this really popular game like called World of Warcraft, like it's subscription based and stuff, like it'd be cool to play, and they'd be like, how much does it cost? And I'd be like, it costs this much, and they're like, yeah, no, I don't think so. So like,
Yeah, I remember Burning Crusade was when I started playing. So the first expansion, so you got World of Warcraft Classic, and then the first expansion was when I got into it. And I played a lot. And I still remember killing boars on Hellfire Peninsula with my buddy and just fireballing the fuck out of them as a mage back when fire was good. I don't know what's good now. I haven't played in years because I refuse to touch the game because I know what happens.
yeah,
I know what happens.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like nowadays I'm interested in games. Well, I mean, with the exception of Dota, just interested in games that like don't take a long time to complete a match, or like what, like Rocket League, for example.
League.
Like you can just play a match in like 10 minutes and like
Yeah.
it's over.
It's like 30 seconds to find the game, 5 minutes, maybe some overtime, and then the exit screens take an obscenely long time. You can make that shit take 15 seconds. But yeah, that's why my games I rotate between now are Rocket League and Dota. And the reason is because when I've got time to kill and I want to play like an intense game where I have to think, I play Dota. And when I'm like, I've got 15 minutes, what can I do? I play Rocket League. That's it. I'm like, how much time do I have? Which game am I playing? Like, I got 25 minutes. That's like 4 games of Rocket League. Let's play. I got 2 hours. That's maybe 2 games of Dota, depending on the first one. If the first one doesn't take an hour and a half.
Yeah. Kind of going back to the World of Warcraft thing, there was one time, I don't know if they still do this, but back in the day, they used to allow you to download the complete game and then play it for like a week or something like that. I don't really.
They did the first 20. You could get to level 19.
Okay.
You couldn't level past level 20, I think.
And I did that. And I literally downloaded World of Warcraft for like 3 days straight because like it was that big of a game. Like I had never.
That was during the rough times.
Yeah, and it was like at a point where it was still at a point where any game that you got came on a CD. Mm-hmm. So you just install the game from the CD. So there's no such thing as like downloading a game.
Yeah,
well, like
it was
World
like
of Warcraft
6 discs.
Yeah, like World of Warcraft, you like downloaded. So like I spend like 3 days straight just leaving my computer on, downloading this game. And then I never ended up actually fucking playing the game. So it's like, I was like, hey man, like I can't really do anything right now. Like it was back when internet wasn't really that fast to begin with. So it's like I'm using up all the bandwidth downloading the game, so I can't do anything else. So I spent like three whole days doing nothing and then never ended up even playing it. And
I know exactly the time period you're talking about. It brings back such memories. Yeah. I remember, like I said, addiction to that game heavy, and we always had computers in the basement. My dad taught online, but we weren't really big online game players. We always played local multiplayer matches against like each other. It's me, my dad, and my brother.
Yeah.
But I remember I was really into World of Warcraft, but those computers hadn't worked in a while. And that's actually when I first got back into actual like PC components and stuff, not just being a gamer. And I got one working and put World of Warcraft on it. And this computer was outdated enough that World of Warcraft had grown to 39 gigs, and I had a 45 gig hard drive, which was enough for Windows XP and World of Warcraft, and that's it. But I still wasn't old enough and or bright enough to realize that like turning off the monitor, you can hear the fans running, keeping the PC cool. So I was playing like everybody go to bed like 9 o'clock. Everybody's always in bed by like 10:30 in my house. 11 o'clock rolls around. I'd get up, sneak downstairs, start playing World of Warcraft. One day I woke my dad up, and my dad hates being woken up.
No, yeah.
And he comes downstairs.
Yeah.
And I remember.
I know this exact feeling because like this, I've woken my parents up in the middle of the night playing video games like so many times.
Because I was using Ventrilo to talk to my friend.
Oh my fucking god, yeah.
And so I turn the monitor off and run into the bathroom and lock it. And I'm just like, if I stay quiet, like nothing will happen. My dad comes downstairs, can hear the computer running, see the fucking light in the bathroom because I'm a retard. He knocks on the door and is like, open it up. And I just know I'm going to be in trouble. And my parents weren't abusive, but like I knew I wasn't going to bed like fine.
Me too. Like,
and it's like they never like beat me or anything, but like I wasn't escaping physical pain. That was definitely going to be a sensation that night.
Geez, yeah. That's the thing is like, it's just because like you genuinely feel bad. Like that's like not something that like
that wasn't the goal.
Yeah,
I just wanted to kill some fucking goblins, man.
Yeah, that's not something like you do. Get really loud or whatever playing video games in the middle of the night and wake your parents up. You genuinely feel bad when they come in and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? You like just woke me up because you're a fucking idiot, like yelling at like whatever.
Shrink down.
Yeah, it's just like I really feel bad right now. So like I know you're mad, but like
I can't face it.
I might cry.
Yeah. So I'm hiding in the bathroom, and he knocks again a little more forcefully, and then he starts banging on the bathroom door. He's just like, just open up. And I can hear it in your voice. He's just like, quit being a little bitch. Just accept what's gonna happen, and let's like just deal with it. But I never. About 5 minutes, he just like sighs and he goes back to bed, and I'm like, okay, he's cooled off and he went to bed. Like he's gonna wake up and go to work. Not how that went. He went upstairs and went to bed, and I was smart enough to not go and continue playing video games. I turned everything off and went to bed. And school started at 7:45. I always woke up at 7.
Yeah,
but
man,
my dad worked 45 minutes to an hour away, and his schedule was to get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Might have contributed to why he hated getting woken up.
Yeah, definitely.
So I was like, he cooled off and went to bed. He went, I'll just wake him up and punish him in the morning. So
man.
4:30 rolls around, and I slept on the top bunk. My brother and I shared a room, and I wake up to just getting grabbed out of the top bunk and dragged to the living room, and then just like he just like not like smacks me around like an abusive husband or something, but just like smacks me a few times, yells at me, grabs his coat, and he leaves for work, and I'm just sitting there in pain and shock, ridiculously tired because I'd spent most of the night playing video games, like not sure what happened. And then my mom, a few hours later, woke up, made my fucking lunch, sent me off to school, and like it was just like any other day, except my dad just like smacked me around that morning, and then left it for my mom to take me to school.
Yeah, no, it's actually funny how like similar this is to like my experience, except I don't think I ever got like smacked around for it. But I definitely was told by my mom many times, like, how would you feel if I was just yelling and getting angry and stuff like that while you were trying to sleep? And I was like, like, I can't argue with that. So, like, I'm kind of mad that you put me in that kind of situation where you said some bullshit like this, because, like, I can't come back from that. like, you make such a good point. Like, what am I supposed to do?
God, Mom, have you been an adult for a while? That's a really good point.
But, yeah, fucking crazy.
I still remember I got smacked obscenely hard over an iPad charger. Like, to this day, I remember. A distinct memory.
It's an interesting thing to get
we
For
came
somebody
back
upset about
from
that.
visiting our cabin because we were obscenely rich. Just kidding. It was owned by like 4 families. It was just the way things went. But we came back and I had an iPod and my dad had an iPad. And I was ADD, so I was always losing my charger for my iPad, and I was always, or my iPod, and I was always borrowing his and not returning it because I have ADD.
Yeah.
So
true.
we come back from vacation, and his iPad is dead, and he can't find the charger, and he just assumes I have it. And I'm just like, I don't know where it is. I didn't touch it this time. Promise. And
I don't
in
know.
all fairness, when asked where that was, normally I was like, oh yeah, I borrowed it and I would go get it. But this time I was like, I just don't actually know. And he really needed the iPad for work because he was using it to answer emails. And I don't remember why he didn't just decide to grab his computer, and he decided to take this out on me. He was probably having a bad day for unrelated reasons to his children.
Probably.
Like looking back, I'm like, I've unreasonably yelled at my dog over things where I'm just like, oh, I'm dealing with some personal shit right now. I'm really sorry. But I'm like, I don't have it. And he's like, you better find it. And I was just like, I don't know where it is. And then he smacks me. And I was just like, I just don't actually know where it is. And he smacks me again, not in like the face. He was smacking me upside the head. And he was just like, find it. Like, you lost it. You find it. And so I was just like looking all over the house. Eventually I went and dug through his bag that he had packed for like traveling home, and he had put it in a different pocket than he normally did. And so it was just sitting in his travel bag from when we came back to the cabin. So I gave it to him and he was like, where was it? And I told him, and he was like, sorry. And then he just went and started answering emails. And I was like, you smacked me like 3 or 4 times over this. Like, to this day, I remember just being like, that's it? And just like, sorry I hit you a few times. I was like, because I was older at this point. Like, this wasn't like I was a kid. Like, this was, I was like, nah, like this doesn't pass the sniff test, buddy.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, maybe that checks out because that's our boss. That's what you told her to do to her son. It was like, I don't know, your son has ADD. Smack him upside the head. It usually straightens him out.
Yeah. When they're young, it can work because like pain is a pretty good motivator, and being ADD without medication is pretty rough. Can confirm.
Yeah.
However, when you do it to somebody under the wrong circumstances, they never forget it. My dad I smacked me over the head over laundry one time. I still remember that because that also wasn't my fault. It's all the times where my ADD wasn't at fault and I wasn't at fault, and I was just like, all right, you guys want to get into some personal shit?
Wait, are you?
Yeah, like this story goes down a pretty dark rabbit hole.
I mean, if you feel comfortable sharing,
I don't care. This
Okay.
is my personal
I'm always
stuff.
excited to know more about you than I should.
Well, let me tell you, if you watch the second segment of the pilot, or if you listened to the second
what we'll do.
segment,
I'll do that as soon as it's released, buddy.
No,
I'm not gonna.
We'll listen to it here.
Yeah, that's
That's not getting released.
That's
Oh,
not
okay.
a release. You learn a lot of stuff you shouldn't know about people.
So because
Hold on one second,
okay.
I'm gonna go get a beer for myself. I don't know if you want another one. But
I'm planning on going home, so I'm gonna slow down.
okay. Yeah, because you did drink those pretty quickly. I mean,
Yeah, and I haven't eaten all day, so like I'm feeling it right now. But after I eat some food, then I'll assess where I'm at.
Okay. Also, I'd go and do that. We're at like minute 54,
Okay.
but I'd say we took like 3 or 4 minutes of just kind of messing around a little bit. So, I'd say like at 1 hour 10, we
Mhm.
should probably wrap it up.
That's enough content.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm game for that.
So yeah, just continue.
Okay, so because I was ADD and not medicated or officially diagnosed, I had to become an adult and go get myself diagnosed. My dad never would. That's why I wasn't medicated. My aunt over medicated her kids for all sorts of shit. and some of them were real and some of them wasn't.
So
a lot of it,
he just went to the opposite end of the spectrum.
yeah. And so my dad was very against medicating his children, which is why I wasn't. But because I was very, and still to this day, am very ADD. Go ahead.
Okay, I messed up. There we go.
That was good.
I don't know, just
That was
good
That's
sound
how
effects.
we need that in the intro for the. It was like "Welcome to Toasted," and it's just the sound of a beer. We'll get a different one every time.
You know, we might be able to do that actually. Might be able to cook something up.
All right, I like it. But like I said, so unmedicated, undiagnosed until I was an adult, and still very much have it and dealing with it. But because I was ADD and because I was constantly losing shit and stuff, I just like don't expect people to believe me and or trust me when it comes to anything that's a detail. I'm a very conceptual person. Like I can tell you about something that happened and all of the details will be wrong, but the general like feeling and like end result and like the general like concept of the story will be the same. And it'd be like, well, last Monday, this person and I were out shopping and this person was an extreme cunt. And it's just like, okay, on Friday, you were with somebody else at a different location and you ran into somebody who's rude. And it's just like, yeah, that's what I said. It's like all the details are wrong, but the story's the same.
Yeah.
It's like, that's like me down to a T. So like, it comes up in relationships where it's like, I flat out at one point, I got into an argument with my current, well, I guess they're all current ex-girlfriends if you're not dating them, right?
Most recent.
My most recent ex.
The one,
Yes, that one.
I had more to say, but like, no, I don't know.
Um,
She's probably not gonna listen to this, right? Or no, yeah.
Oh,
maybe.
God, no.
Okay, well, so this is the one. I just wanna. This is how I know her from here on out. It's the one that gets drunk and makes the food orders, just randomly, because you shared that with us. That was pretty great.
Oh yeah.
She gets
I remember.
when she's super drunk, she calls and then just randomly makes food orders on the phone with them. I don't know why she does that exactly.
Marriage
but-
is a choice with a side of hash browns and mayo. No. So this came up because she said something and I told her I didn't believe her. And she was like, I'm telling the truth. And I was like, I don't know for a fact that you are. And just like generally just not believing her. This was right around the time of the Me Too movement, which didn't help. Thanks, guys. Doing the Lord's work there. But she basically said that not believing her was a deal breaker. So I lied and was just like, you've changed my mind. I believe you. But it was just between my relationship and telling this girl that I believed her. So I just told her I did. Later, something came up where I was just like, hold on. We just had a whole discussion about like believing each other. And it was just like, it was a deal breaker. And she's just like, well, you don't seem to care as much. And I was like, I don't need people to believe me. I just like, it's not something because of like my childhood and everything. Like, I'm just so used to it that when I say something and somebody's just like, I don't believe you, I'm just like, okay. Like, like even people I'm in a relationship with, even when it comes to like important things, I'm just like, okay with not being believed. I'm like, if I know I'm right because like, there's a lot of things I forget. I'm not a detail-oriented person. But, like, if I know I'm right and somebody just, like, doesn't believe me, even if it's somebody I need to believe me, I can just live with that. And I feel like a lot of people can't. Like, if somebody knows they're right and wants and needs to be believed and should be believed, like, it's really upsetting. And for me, I'm just like, okay, I don't need the benefit of the doubt from really anybody.
So yeah, I actually know how you feel because... it sounds like that happens to you often.
All the time.
Okay, see, that never happens to me hardly ever. In the times that it ever has, I'm just like, I don't care if you don't believe me. Like, I know I'm being truthful and correct.
Yeah.
Like,
but
why do I care that you don't?
But it's different because, like, for me, I'm just like, it's hard because I'm like, most of the time, especially when it comes to details, like, you shouldn't believe me. My head for detail does not exist. Like, I don't have attention to detail. It's just not who I am as a person unless I'm extremely heavily medicated, which I only do if I have a specific goal in mind because like kind of ruins my personality. That's just the way it is.
It's fair.
So I'm just so used to it that even when it's critical, I'll just let things go to shit and make people experience the fact that I was right when like I could have stood my ground. But also, I think people are right to not believe me because of the amount of times I've just been like absolutely certain and also been wrong because my head for detail is so bad. And I've gotten better about that as I've gotten older. But for the people who've known me for a very long time, when I say things, they just don't believe me. And I've realized I just don't need to be believed, even in relationships, even when it's just like unhealthy that I'm just letting this shit go.
Like, yeah, I don't know. That's surprising that you've had that experience. I don't know if it's like your personality or what, but like I've generally never had that experience. Like it seems like a lot of people trust me like a lot, and like sure that means like I could definitely like take advantage of that, and I don't, and maybe that's why like they just continue.
I would
like,
also refer to you as a detail oriented person.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like
so
it's
completely different thing. Like you're a detail oriented person, and people kind of get that sense.
It's the
so
vague.
People just assume that you're right about things.
Yeah, it's just like you're saying like if you explain something, you're like very vague on the details, so people are like,
yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's why I lie so convincingly. Because when I need somebody to believe me, I just make up the details. Because like whether you like. If I'm right about something and I know it and I need somebody to believe it, I think this is why I lie so much. It's just because like I can't recall the details well enough to convince people, but I can create them and the end result will be the same. And
okay.
Does that make sense?
I guess it sounds like you fill in the gaps
with bullshit,
but
it's like
get to the same conclusion
if I'm like,
at the end of the day.
Like, Lo Ciento, like take that super spammy client that you came over and we sent those HTTP requests to. Okay. So like you and I both knew that was the alarms were triggering off of regular web traffic, just people logging in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
it definitely was.
It was
so
bullshit. Yeah.
If you weren't there for that and didn't walk me through how to do that, and I just come to you and been like, this is triggering off regular web traffic, and you were in the position of being like, no, it's not. I wouldn't be able to remember what I did or like how I could prove it well enough to explain to you why I was right. So I would just make it up. I would be like, no, I know I'm right for these reasons.
Yeah.
And they would all be fake. And you'd be like, oh, he's right. And I would be, but not for those reasons. So it's like right conclusion, wrong process is like very much who I am as a person. I'm just like,
okay.
If I need, like, and I have a good amount of self-doubt. So I'm not just like blindly believing shit that it's not like the world is flat and like I'll just lie until you believe me. Like it's not stuff like that. But there are things where you're just absolutely certain. And like if you know people won't believe you or they'll like question you in ways you can't answer because you just don't have a head for shit like that. This happened all the time in my last relationship where it was just like she was like, I don't believe you. And I would just lie to her and then she'd believe me and then she'd find out I was right. And I just wouldn't tell her that like I lied to convince her because like then she wouldn't believe me the next time I needed her to.
Okay, yeah, that's just that's the opposite of what I like completely actually. Like when I tell somebody a story, like I put as much detail into it as possible, and that kind of makes for like a long story to where I have to like continuously go back and be like, hold on, before I tell you this, like I forgot I had to say this, and like it's just like this whole like thing, and I don't know, I'm just not. I guess I feel like you have to know like everything to get the full scope of what's going on, rather than just filling in the blanks as I please.
I make sure the critical details and the end perception are correct,
Yeah.
All the other stuff, as far as I'm concerned, is just filler. And it's like, whether it happened on a Tuesday or Monday, doesn't matter. Who was there doesn't actually matter. What matters is we were here at some point, or we were a place at some point, and we encountered, whatever thing. It's like where we were, who I was with, and which person was doing it doesn't matter. It's like Monday we were at like Foot Locker, and this old lady was an absolute cunt. And it's just like, well, on Tuesday, you were at Taco Bell, and the teenager behind the counter was rude. And it's just like, yeah.
This is a similar story.
It's basically the same thing. It's just like, somebody made me upset.
Although one might be racist, but...
But it's like, somebody made me upset.
Oh, okay.
And that's that's what I needed to convey to you was I had a bad experience and I was upset. Like, that's what I need you to understand. The details of you understanding that do not matter to me whatsoever. And you're just like, you didn't go to Foot Locker on Monday. And I'm just like, that's not the point. Okay, I'm not going to make this racial, but this is important.
Okay.
Church's has the best fried chicken.
I've never been there.
Okay.
Hold on, though. Are we off topic?
Yes.
Very. Yes. We're going down a rabbit hole.
It's fine. I want to talk about Church's chicken.
Okay. Well,
because people need to know.
We'll let you talk about Church's chicken.
Church's chicken
Okay.
is the best fried chicken. They have phenomenal mac and cheese. Their biscuits are better than Popeyes. They have the best food. However, they are located in very, very, very sketchy areas for particular groups of people to be. The lines are extremely long, and the people behind the counter are extremely rude. So for the best food in the world, you have to risk your life, and you definitely have to just accept that you're going to have people be rude to you. I remember one time I paid $30 for $15 worth of food because I ordered, and the person got it wrong. And I ordered a couple of combos and specials that they were running.
Where do you get this stuff?
I used to be a truck driver, dude. I used to drive.
Okay. I forgot that.
Yeah, I used to deliver propane to the hood. That's where these experiences came from.
Yeah.
But yeah, I waited in line one time. I remember 30 minutes. This person, they had a bunch of specials running, so I ordered all the specials. I got enough food for the day. Because when you're in a truck for 16 hours, you need more than one meal. But I remember I ordered all the food, and it should have been $15 to $20, and it was $30 to $40 because the person behind the counter punched everything in individually. And then I brought it up, and they're just like, "It's what you ordered." And I was like, "Yeah, but you have these signs with the specials." And she was just like, "Do you want the food?" And I was just like, I do. And she was like,
what a
it's
question.
$36. And I was like, it should be $15 to $20. And she was just like, are you going to pay? And I did. I was cowed into obedience. I just paid the extra money. And then I had the most mediocre food that $36 buys. It would have been delicious at the proper price point.
So this is very funny because this just reminded me of a story that I have about ordering food from a chicken place, and it is the exact opposite of what happened to. I mean, it's the exact opposite of what happened to Jack. So this is very weird, but so speaking of how I was talking about Halo earlier, one of my friends on Halo that I played it with the most, he is from Alabama. And me and Kyle actually went and visited him for the first time, met him in person and everything, hung out with him and whatnot. We drove down there. And since, in Michigan, there at the time anyway, there was no such thing as Chick-fil-A. There is no such thing as Chipotle. There's no such thing as these restaurants that are here now, at least. It was kind of something that was in major areas or just in the south of the US in general.
I
And-
remember the dark times.
Yeah, and then just hadn't got here yet. So, like what happened with this was since we were like all gamers and stuff, right? I think brought his headphones. I don't know if it was to like play video games or something, because like I don't know, you like meet up with somebody you played video games with for years, and that's like the only thing you've really ever done with them, and it's kind of like, well, why don't we play video games when we're together in person? Which like doesn't make any sense, because you could just do that like apart, right? So like that's basically what we did. We ended up having like a Halo 2 tournament. We like loaded up on a PC, like the Windows version of Halo 2, and we like 1v1'd each other to see like who would win. We had like a bracket and everything. It was fun and whatnot. But what me and did is we were like, okay, we've like never been to Chipotle before. So, he took us to eat lunch, because we got there in the morning, and then we hung out for a little bit, and then it was like lunchtime. So what we ended up doing is we went to Chipotle first, find out it's closed. And then he's like, okay, well, we can go to Chick-fil-A then. So we get to this Chick-fil-A, and I don't know what made us have this idea, but we took my friend's gaming headset. It was like, I don't know if you're familiar with I forget what it's called. The Siberia SteelSeries Siberia V2s or whatever. Like they're pretty like bulky, like on the ears and stuff.
Okay.
And then had his headphones, which is like the Astro A40s.
Mm-hmm.
So we had this idea, like we get to the Chick-fil-A, pull in the parking lot, and we're like, what if we just like put these headsets on and just like went in and like ordered with the headsets on and like had the microphones out and everything like that. So that's what we did. Like me and put them on. We went inside the Chick-fil-A. We like ordered our shit, and for some reason, I don't know why, I ordered what I wanted. First time at Chick-fil-A, like I'm like, all right, I tried like chicken sandwich or something, and I told them what I wanted, and I just walked away. Like I didn't pay. Like I don't know why I didn't pay. Like I just fucking forgot. Like I don't know why. I was like, hey man, I want this, and then I just walked away and sat down with them. So I'm like sitting there and stuff, and then it like it like hits me.
It
Like
occurs to you.
I'm
You're
I'm like, guys, like I didn't pay for my food. Like I don't. I like ordered, but like I just left the cash register. I think like the whole thing about having a headset on like distracted me. Like a lot.
Like,
I gotta get out of here.
they'll understand I'm important. I can just walk away.
Or they'll just think I'm a fucking idiot. So what ended up happening is like I went back up there and I was like, guys, I should pay, right? So I like go up there and I'm like, hey man, like I realized like I ordered, but like I forgot to pay. And then they said to me, yeah, that's all right. He's like, don't worry about it. He's like, your meal is on us today. And they fucking gave me a free chicken sandwich and waffle fries.
I'll live and die by Chick-fil-A.
Without paying for it at all. And then like I like grabbed it. I'm like, okay. Like I felt very awkward and like uncomfortable. And like, so I grabbed it. I went and sat down and I was like, I feel like so guilty right now. Like I don't even want to eat this food. And I'm thinking like, did they spit in it? Like what happened? And it's like, but they offered it to me for free. So like, would they really do that? Like, I think they're just being generous and stuff. They probably think I'm a retard because I got a headset on. And
like, oh, he thought a headset and a helmet are the same thing.
Let's get him back to his handlers.
So, I ate my chicken sandwich, my free so I ate my free chicken sandwich and my free waffle fries, and I was like, wow, man, like Chick-fil-A is awesome. My first time there, they give me a free meal because I think I'm a downy.
You know who paid for your chicken sandwich? Some gay dude's dad who sent him to conversion therapy.
So let's be honest.
Fuck.
Even if you're against like homophobia, you still eat at Chick-fil-A. So
Yes.
don't even.
I know some people who believe in their beliefs so strongly that they're just like LGBTQ rights, Chick-fil-A is trash. You can't eat there because they make great chicken, but they hate the gays. And these people all have iPhones. And I'm like, okay, so hating the gays is wrong. Correct. I completely agree with you. However, slave labor, as long as it makes your life easier, I'm like, you can't. I get so annoyed, and people are just like, well, you can't be perfect. Like, there's gonna be something. And I'm like, you're right, there is. So maybe like a little bit more like compassion for like everyday people just living their life. It's like, yeah, they're wrong about like gays.
Yeah.
However, it's like, you're not on any sort of moral high ground, so just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's okay to pay people in China $3.50 an hour to make parts for the iPhone, and
that's pretty generous.
And then live in apartments that are fit for like 3 people, but they actually house like 15 all at once. Yeah,
you remember when Apple put up nets because their employees were trying to jump off the building and kill themselves, and they're just like, we have a solution, and it's not better healthcare.
Get back in the assembly line, dumbass.
And Daniel Tosh has a joke. He's like, yeah, they're just bouncing off these nets back in the office. He's like, sorry, boss, just needed a quick breather.
but yeah, anyway, going back to it, that was my experience with like ordering something from fast food, which is completely opposite from yours, which is you got overcharged, and I just got it for free for somehow.
Well, I mean,
but
churches is atheist Chick-fil-A, and that's why the experiences were different.
Oh yeah, they're just not good people. Yeah, I think I'm gonna cut what I said too. I don't think people would be happy about that, but that's okay. I mean, like, you know, it is what it is. I mean, if we all just.
What color were the people behind the desk at your place?
I think
and what color were the people at Chick-fil-A?
The dude that gave me the free meal was white. So that explains
the person who
that explains a
charged
lot
me
actually because of
$35 for $17 worth of food.
I mean, sorry.
Hey, but they make way better and cheese. Have you heard of herbs and spices other than salt and pepper? Not at Chick-fil-A.
All right, we're off the rails.
Yeah, you gotta cut the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, we can cut shit, and here's some.
No, none of that is factual in any way, really.
You don't have to justify it. We're gonna cut it all out. I believe everything I just said.
That can hear through the walls. It's like the pop culture fucking king. I thought I was pretty good, but like I'm not that good.
That's I don't remember why I was complimenting.
Also,
people.
we said, he's getting normalized to it. I feel like he didn't even say anything this time.
Yeah. Once you're in, it's a different ball game. This is what happens. You bring a contestant on stage, and suddenly they're spinning the wheel as hard as they can, like every other fucking retard on the show. It's like, come on, one spin. Those are your best odds. It starts on 100. You gotta shoot big. Sorry, that was the weird Price is Right. Fucking like side tangent. We should end this and get food.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you good? Okay.
And I'm out of food for the day. Except unless your last name is, in which case you're a fucking. All right, I'm done.
We leave that one in, right?
We can leave that one in. She knows. I'll text you.
Yikes. So you have her number, huh?
Oh yeah, dude. When we bang.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on. We have to actually wrap this up before you get too fucking crazy. Okay. So, our good boy Travis left us. But, he was, I don't know what we're going to call you, but Sleepy Boy replaced them.
Sleepy Boy. We just keep changing
white girl
his name.
White girl in the corner, Sleepy Boy, same thing.
We didn't reference Whitey in the corner at all, but I want her to know that she needs to throw a party in soon.
Yeah, she definitely should do that because I will join. Anyway, also I have yet to meet her roommate,
boyfriend. I'm not sure either of them exist.
Okay, her roommate definitely exists.
I'm mostly interested in her mom.
Okay, well
Flora seems great.
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I also agree. So thank you for that. But with all things said, can we give a shout out to our hypothetical sponsor one more time before we
Yes.
leave?
This podcast is brought to you by New Orthodox and their Indian Pale Ale series. Today we are sipping on Boss Tweed, their double Indian Pale Ale, 9.3% alcohol by volume. Thank you, New Orthodox.
And Chick-fil-A.
And Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, for the free meal. Okay. So yeah, fuck Corona and the beer, not the actual Corona.
Yeah, we're pro coronavirus, anti-corona beer.
Yes. So fuck Corona, go Corona. And that is it for episode 1 of the Toasted Podcast. We will see you next time when we talk about some other bullshit that you probably don't even care about. But hey, maybe you'll think it was funny. And cue the outro music if that's even a fucking thing. I don't know.
Da, 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 da.